Rebecca, killer of Nickerjoy, sees these black kids just having fun, and she goes storming over there talking about, oh my god, don't you ever wander away, bloopity blah blah, you don't know these people, bloop 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 doop doop doop. Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Ow. What I want to do today, because fall television has just come back on, all of our favorite TV shows are coming back on our screens. One of those TV shows that has taken the nation by every single one of its tear ducts is This Is Us. Now, for a long time I have avoided watching This Is Us because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, one of the storylines in this TV show is that this white family has a black adoptee. I usually avoid pretty much any media representation of transracial adoption because they're always horrible. So I never watched it until recently, earlier this year. I started watching it because everybody was like, oh my god, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great. And then I heard in the second season, they actually consulted actual transracial adoptees. So I was like, okay, let me just give it a chance. I should have trusted my gut because I did not like how they deal with a lot of the topics of transracial adoption, which is what I'm going to talk about today. But because there's so much to talk about in this show and how they handle adoption, especially transracial adoption, I decided to break it down. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about specifically Rebecca's character. No affiliation, bitch. We all know I'm the greater Rebecca. It's Mandy Moore's character. She is the mother in this family.
Exact same place, exact same day. Just look at him, babe. Place right there, right next to ours. Can't you just feel it? You know, can't you just see it?
Go ahead and strap in your seatbelt, bitch, because I'm about to go in because I hate this character so much. She's the fucking worst. If you've never watched the show is basically follows this family. But the thing that makes this show so unique and what everybody loves about it is it flip-flops timelines. So it flips between the timelines of the two parents when they're like young adults, you know, growing up, going through the whole having their kids, blah, blah, blah. And it swaps back and forth between that time and then present time where the kids are adults. I am caught up on this show. I have watched all seasons up until this current season. I do like the show. There's a lot of parts of the show that I like, but the adoption parts just from episode 1 made me cringe so hard that I almost stopped watching, but I kept pushing through because there are parts of it that I do like. It's just every time adoption comes up on the show, I'm just like, ooh, ooh. Ooh. Let's talk about Rebecca's character, because Rebecca's character is the first introduction that we really get to adoption. By the way, if you guys haven't figured out yet, I'm about to spoil this for you, especially the first season. One of the first things that we find out in the first season is that Rebecca was pregnant with triplets. That's where the 2 kids come from. But during childbirth, she lost one of the kids. Super tragic. Everybody cried. Wow, wow, wow. Whatever. Well, she was in the hospital, you know, mourning, oh my god, I lost my kid. She sees this abandoned black baby that was dropped off at the hospital. And so she goes, wow, I lost a kid. And now magically here's this black kid that just showed up. So why don't we just adopt him to replace the child that we lost? Stop. Skirt, skirt. We're going to pull over right here and talk about this. I don't know how many damn times I've talked about adoption not being a charity case. This is a prime example of that. We are human beings, we are people, we are living, breathing people with families and hearts and souls and minds. We are not your charity case. Just because you lost a baby, which 100% is tragic and horrible, does not mean that you just go randomly pick the first child that you see on the street. It's just not a healthy mindset, period, to be in when you're adopting. Like, I don't give a fuck what race you're adopting. You should not be going into adoption with the mindset of I'm replacing a child that I lost. What kind of fucked up bullshit? Because if you're going into adoption with that mindset, you're not really you're not really adopting because you want to adopt, right? You're going into adoption with the mindset of replacing something that you lost. So to us, So we are always going to be representative of what you lost in this process. We're never going to be just your child. We're going to be a replacement for the child that you lost. And that's a fucked up thing to put on kids that did not ask to be in this situation, point blank, period. To me, that mindset shows throughout this whole series in the way she treats the rest of her children. I feel like there's just always this underlying disdain for Randall, or for the problems that he causes in this family because he's black. But it's like, girl, you are the person who put this on everybody else. Nobody asked you to go tragically adopt a child, especially a black child, just because you lost yours. That's tragic. That's terrible, horrible thing for anybody to go through. But we are not your fucking replacement babies. We are people. It's fucked up. Reunification. So we find out, I don't remember if it's in season 1 or season 2, but basically we find out eventually that all along she knew who Randall, who's the adopted black son played by Sterling K. Brown, who his biological family is, right? Because we find out that she actually saw him dropping off the baby and like runs out and talks to him, blah, 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 finds out where he lives, and they are like talking for a long time. They're like exchanging letters and all this bullshit. And so we find out that she knew who he was all along, and she never told Randall. Randall is like in his 40s at this point, late 30s, early 40s. And Randall has been having this huge identity crisis throughout his whole life, asking questions about his biological family. I want to meet them. I want to find them, blah, 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 blah. And one of the early, I think it's either episode 1 or 2, which was oh my God, it was like the most cringeworthy episode that I almost stopped watching the show, is when he does find his dad. And he just goes through all the worst possible mental fucked upness that Adoptee could go through. And all of this could have been avoided had this dumb white bitch just been upfront in the first place and said, you know what, if you want to, I know who your daddy is. I have his contact number. When you're ready, we can do this together. But she didn't. She kept it a secret. She lied. And we find out later in the seasons that she basically said she was scared that he might actually like his biological family. Like, duh, bitch. It sounds fucked up, and most people would probably realize how fucked up it is, but you would be surprised how many people do this in real life to adoptees. There are so many adoptees, people I know personally, whose family lied to them about being adopted or about who their biological family is. In fact, I found out when I was doing the search for my family that she was told by the adoption agency that I had died like 2 years after I was adopted. So this whole time she had been thinking I was dead. So when I finally found her, I found her via Facebook. I found her through doing a whole lot of like Inspector Gadget ass internet searching. And when I found her on Facebook and I messaged her, she thought I was like somebody fucking with her. She thought I was like somebody playing a prank on her, because the whole 27 years she thought I was dead. Whole big thing. But my point is this shit happens all the time, and it's extremely fucked up. Adoptees are entitled to know their life story and where they're from. It's our stories, it's our families, it's our bloodlines. It is not for adoptive parents or anybody else, period, to keep from us. That's our information, and it sucks that a lot of adoptions are closed, which means that there's not allowed to have any contact between biological families until they're 18 or older, and by that time, it's really hard to track people down. So I say all of that to say that was really fucked up of Rebecca. You hear me, Rebecca? Rebecca. Mandy, Rebecca. Listen, do you see how this is fucked up? It's fucked up, and you fucked up Randall. I'm gonna do another episode on that man, because that man is spiraling out of control, and he needs so much mental help and therapy, because those white parents are like the worst possible white parents to be adopting black children. The last thing that I want to talk about with Rebecca is something that's very common with white adoptive parents and their inability to like bring in their transracial adoptees' cultures. One of the things I'm thinking about in particular is there's an episode, and I think it's called The Pool, and it's literally just a whole episode of this family and their kids at the pool. So they're at the pool, and Randall sees other black kids playing. He's like, what, bitch? I ain't never seen black people in my life. Let me go chill. How you doing? How y'all look? You good? Can I come? Okay, cool. Of course, as any person does, if you see people who look like you, you're like, oh my God, let's go find my people. And he goes over and plays with them. Rebecca is old privileged white ass sees this happening. He sees black kids just having fun. Rebecca, killer of Nickerjoy, sees these black kids just having fun, and she goes storming over there talking about, oh my God, don't you ever wander away, bloopity blah blah, you don't know these people, bloop 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 doop doop doop. The black mama of these other kids is like, did you ever occur to you that maybe he wants to be, you know, talk to people who look like him? Did you notice that you got his hair all fucked up? Did you know that you're supposed to put sunscreen on him, bitch? Do you know anything about being black? No, you don't. That's why you need to let black people be in his life. She basically reads Rebecca in a very, very nice, polite way, basically saying, white bitch, you don't understand what it is like to be black, and your son needs black representations of himself around him. Barbecue Becky about it. She get real offended. You know, she's like, oh, you don't know my son, Blue. He's beautiful. Like, I don't see color. And, you know, throughout this whole episode, she goes through this whole back and forth, and eventually she's like, oh my God, you were right. I do have a black child. Who knew, girl? Silly me. But that ignorance is just shown throughout the show with Rebecca and her just like complete disconnect to the fact that she has a black child. Like, it's, and again, this is something that is so common with adoptees, and I think it's probably the most common problem with transracial adoption is white parents just, it just doesn't even cross their mind. They always want to do this colorblind shit. They're like, oh my God, I just love all my kids are all the same. No, we're not. We're not all the same. We're not all the same color. We're not all treated the same. We all are having different experiences, and you ignoring those experiences does not make them go away for us. Like, that part really frustrates me throughout the show, because Randall be trying to talk about these kind of things, and she's always just like, what? That can't be possible. Or there's like a whole episode about him wanting to go to an HBCU and she just doesn't get it. And it's just like, it's so exhausting. When I tell you I'll be watching these episodes like, I don't know if it's because it's so terrible or it's because it's so triggering because it hits so close to home. But whatever it is, I don't like it, okay? And I think it bothers me so much is because to me there's no real growth from it. Like, the characters don't really grow from it. There's no real resolution. It's just kind of like, oh, silly me, I fucked up. Okay, next episode. And it's just like, what? Like, hold on, what? But, you know, This Is Us. She definitely gets a failing grade for somebody who's prepared to transracially adopt. So, if you or somebody you know is like a Miss Rebecca, please, pretty please, do not let them adopt, period. Like, not even just people of color, just don't let them adopt. Never mind, that's a whole different video. I'm not even gonna get into all that. That's all for now. Go ahead and let me know what you think of the show This Is Us down in the comments. And that bitch Rebecca, let me know how you feel about her. And as always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the flip